Hey everybody, welcome back to Baseline Farms. My name is Jade. My gosh, you guys, it has been so stinking hot. It's been ridiculously hot. The other day I went to work and the truck broke down on my way home. It was about 108 degrees. It just wouldn't shift in, the transmission wasn't working correctly and it wasn't shifting into drive, it just wasn't going. So my goodness, so yeah, I was able to pull into a little parking lot where John was able to come get me. But then I was making a phone call to my daughter to let her know that the truck broke down. And because it was so hot, I literally just started crying. I tell you what, I just do not do well with heat. I literally started crying, and it was not like the little tears. The ugly face cry came out because it was so hot, and I am just not used to working in the heat. Even though I work in the heat, you know, out in the garden, sometimes when you're working at the job sites, you just can't escape the heat. There's just nowhere to go. So yeah, and then to have the truck breakdown on the way home was just miserable. So many things have been happening in the garden, and you know, the garden is actually doing pretty good. I'm pretty shocked with the way the heat, it's just been so hot. And today's supposed to be 108 degrees or something like that, but in the next few days it's supposed to be cooling down. And but yeah, so it's already probably about 80 degrees right now. Today is July 23rd, Sunday. And I wanted to come out here early, but then when it's cool in the morning, I just wanted to get working and get it all done. But I wanted to come out here and give you a tour as to what is happening in the garden. So we're not probably going to get any onions because all of those onion seeds that I planted, those red onion seeds, no longer exist. But we do have some red bunching onions, if you could see that. So right in here, we have some red bunching onions that are doing good. And then we have some strawberries on all the corners, but this bed is not producing quite a bit of strawberries. And these weeds, these weeds are just unbelievable. So this year, I feel like I have so many weeds compared to last year. Last year I had weeds also, but oh my gosh, look at this. This kitty, he just wants me to scratch his belly, but I'm not confident enough to scratch his belly. I'm so afraid he's gonna bite me, but as you could tell, I don't think he's gonna bite me. I'm just not ready to scratch his belly. Okay, so this is how this bed is doing. Now let me share with you how the other beds are doing. Okay, so over here in this bed we have some peppers. So here are some sweet bell peppers right in there that are doing so good. And then we have a bunch of sashimi peppers, sweet sashimi peppers, which I have picked quite a bit of sashimi peppers. And then in the inside, we have some holy basil. So let me give you a good look at how this bed is doing and all the things that we have growing in here. All right, so right in here, we have our sweet bell pepper. And look how good that's doing. Amazing. Now we have this marigold that I started from seed, and these marigolds are supposed to be good with repelling any type of pest that might harm your garden, and I feel like it's doing the job because I haven't had any pest issues so far. Now over here we have the sweet sashimi peppers, and all I've been doing is harvesting these and then browning them a little bit, and oh my gosh, they're so good. Now on this one right here, we have a purple bell pepper, but I've only harvested 3 bell pepper from this plant. So I'm not too sure why I'm not getting any more bell pepper. Over here, we have our cayenne pepper, and look how many. Isn't that just so amazing? And then we have another purple bell pepper right here that's doing extremely well. We have 3 of them on this plant, and then another cayenne pepper right there. Now, in the inside here, we have some holy basil. And what I've been doing, you see that? The holy basil, what I've been doing is I've been snipping that off. And not only can you cook with it, but you can also make teas. So I've been putting that in. I have a whole row right here of holy basil. So I've been putting that in with some mint and honey and brewing it outside in the jars, in a large mason jar. Oh my gosh, amazing. Now look at these tomatoes. These are our San Marzano's heirloom tomatoes by Johnny Selected Seeds, and they are growing so well. Look at how good they're doing. So many tomatoes. Now I've only harvested a dozen, but look at that. We have some right there. I could probably take those all off and they will ripen up inside the house. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So awesome. So I am so pleased with this variety. I think it's turning out great. And look how tall they are. Amazing. Okay, so over here in this garden bed, this is where we had the jade beans and that cucumber. So what happened was the cucumber ended up getting some aphids and started getting spider mites. And it also got powdery mildew. So I ended up, after I harvested all of the cucumber, I ended up pulling out all the cucumber plants and all of the jade beans because I noticed that that powdery mildew was spreading onto the jade beans. Now, I could have sprayed some neem oil and I could have put some pesticides and, you know, diatomaceous earth and those types of things, but I didn't. It was spreading so fast. So to make sure that that disease did not get onto any of the other plants, I just sacrificed this bed and took out everything. So it was sad because I really, really wanted to harvest some more beans. But I do have some beans planted in the other beds. So this bed in particular, I'm just going to save it for some garlic or maybe something else that I want to plant in this bed. But so far, I'm going to have to add more soil to it because I did weed it, and hopefully no more weeds will grow in this bed, but I highly doubt it. So that's how this bed is doing, is empty. All right, so over here we have our bronze torch, and oh my goodness, these tomatoes are so beautiful. The cat keeps knocking around the tripod, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, these tomatoes are beautiful. The tomatoes themselves are like variegated, so it has so much color to it. So let me give you a really good look as to how these tomatoes are looking. First, they are so tall. Look at how tall they are. Amazing. But then when you look at the fruit, oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Look how pretty that is. Yeah, so they're all doing really good. Everything on this trellis is doing extremely well. Look at that, amazing. So awesome. All right, so over here on the other side of those bronze torch, I have some beans. And these are just, I think they're called pole beans or something like that. I bought a big package of beans, and I think all it said is garden beans. And so this is what they're looking like, and they're doing so good. And so now look, it's trellising finally. Finally, I have something trellising. So that, oh my gosh, this cat. So that is how this area is doing. So I'm so excited because I put those little trellises that I had the cucumbers on, I cleaned them, and then I'm hoping that it's gonna trellis alongside of this this little trellising thing. So that's gonna be so amazing if we could get some beans on here. So that would be awesome. Now over here in this bed, I definitely need to clean it and amend it. And I'm thinking I'm just gonna put a whole bunch of strawberries. Now I think I said that before, but I'm definitely going to just keep potting up some strawberries from other beds and popping them right in here and then just filling up this bed full of strawberries. Now look at this lemongrass. It's doing so good. Amazing. Just an amazing plant. I love it. It's so hardy. It does well in the heat. It does well in the cold. It's just such an amazing plant. Okay, so now this garden bed. Let me show you what's happening in this garden bed. So over here in this garden bed, I had so many things growing in it. I had some turnips, I had carrots, I had spinach, we had a bunch of artichokes, and then we had a bunch of these Jerusalem artichokes that popped up because I did not get all of the tubers from last year. And I think, is that all? Carrots? Did I say carrots? I'm not too sure. Okay, so yeah, we had just so many things growing. Well, then I noticed that something was eating off all the spinach, and I found out that it was snails. So they took out all the spinach, so I removed all the spinach. We harvested all of the turnips that were amazing, harvested all the carrots that were just delicious. And then I noticed that some of the artichokes weren't growing well because of this Jerusalem artichoke. So what I ended up doing was I pulled out some of the artichokes because not only were they not doing well, but they were also getting diseased. There was like aphids growing inside. So what I've noticed is that when aphids are attracted to a plant or spider mites or anything like that, I noticed that that plant is either weak or something's wrong with it, so I just remove it. And as hard as it is, because there's artichokes on there, it's best just to remove it than to let it affect the rest of the garden. That's been my experience. So that's what I just do with some of these plants. Now, if it's not that bad and I could spray off the aphids with the water hose and just keep watching it that way, then I'll do that. But if it's really, really bad, I'll just remove it and sacrifice that one plant instead of having it destroy my whole garden, which is something that I worked so hard for. So it was sad to lose a couple of artichokes, but we have so many growing in the garden. Like, look at this one. We have an artichoke here, which I've harvested 3 artichokes from this one particular artichoke plant. And they're amazing. They taste so, so good. The meat is so tender. It's so delicious. So that is how this bed is doing. Very sparse, very empty, but it's okay. I know fall is coming. It's right around the corner, and I'm already looking at fall seeds. I'm already looking at how much garlic I'm going to plant, how much spinach, turnips, carrots, because that is what grew really well last year, and that is what we ate so much of. So I cannot wait to get started with the fall garden. Okay, so here is our blackberry bush. Now, since I fertilized it, we have some new little runners right in here, but I did not get all of the raspberries. I noticed that I left a little bit of a raspberry bush right in here, so we have some raspberries growing in here also. But this is how the blackberry is doing. Not that many blackberries on here. Not too sure why, not too sure if it's because I'm overwatering it or underwatering it, or yeah, I have no idea. But I keep, I'm taking care of it, and I know eventually it'll produce some blackberries as long as I don't give up on it. Okay, so over here in this garden bed, we have our 3 basil that I bought from the market, and they're doing so, so good. Now, I ended up buying this tomato plant from the nursery because I did not have this color, and this is supposed to be a yellow, I forgot the name of the tomato, but I want to say like a yellowish tomato. Oh my goodness, kitty. Oh, this kitty. So let me just go on to the other side and maybe he'll get out of the bed. Now, right on here on the other side of the basil, we have our Roma tomatoes, and these Roma tomatoes are by Lake Valley Seed Company. And these tomatoes I started 2 weeks after my first succession of tomatoes. So that's why they're a little bit smaller. So I'm excited to see what we're gonna get, if we're gonna get, a whole another set of Roma tomatoes, which I hope we do, especially since I started up all those determinate tomato seedlings that are popping up. So I'll show you how those look. So I'm hoping that we get a whole bunch of tomatoes all the way up and through October. You guys, look at the cucumber. These are the Soyo cucumbers by Johnny Selected Seeds, and they're doing so good. But I noticed that there's like tiny little white spots on them, and it doesn't look like powdery mildew, but it does look like something is wrong with the leaves. So I'm not too sure what it is. Let me give you a really close look so you can see what I'm dealing with. And if you know what it is, please let me know. Do you see those little dots? I'm not too sure what that is, but it's on a few of these leaves here. So if anyone can tell me what this is, if this is powdery mildew, another form of mildew, I would greatly appreciate it. Don't lose those cucumbers, because I'm hoping to get some more cucumbers since I had to pull out the other ones. And I'm not really getting any cucumbers from the other cucumber that I planted on the other side over here. I'll show you where. But over here, this is where we have the sunflowers. Look at that. They're doing so good. Oh my goodness, it's getting so hot out here. I'm so sweaty. But yeah, these sunflowers are looking amazing. I cannot wait to see how this little wall of sunflowers are gonna look. So in this bed, we have some dill right here. We have these sunflowers. We don't have much. We do have some little beans, but these beans I started before I started the other beans, and they're kind of tiny. Do you see that? These are the blue late beans right in here. So I have five blue late beans in this bed. And so far, so good. They just look super small. Now, over here, let me show you. We have our raspberry bush. And our raspberry bush doesn't look good. Look at that. Got the brown leaves. I don't know if it's because I'm underwatering it or overwatering it. but I don't water it that often because I was overwatering it. So I thought maybe I'd slow down. And so now I stopped. I water it every other day. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, this is my first time ever growing these raspberries and blackberries. So I'm not quite sure what to really expect. But we do have a raspberry. Tiny little guy. Look at that. Let's see if it tastes good. Tastes like a raspberry. It's pretty delicious. I hope you get more of those. Okay, so over here we just have a bunch of marigolds. I have some cilantro growing here, but I since taken it out because it got some sort of aphids. And then I also have some basil here that's trying to go to flower. And so when it tries to go to flower, I just pick off the tops and pinch them off. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, so right here we have our sun golds. And our sun golds are looking amazing. Look at that. I can't wait till we have a full cluster of sun golds in here. But we are getting some tomatoes right in there. Do you see that? You see those? Look at that. Looking so good. So those are looking amazing. And then we have another kind of half empty bed with just a bunch of artichokes. And these artichokes are looking really good. Look at that. How awesome. So awesome. I cannot wait to harvest all these and eat them. Okay, here we have our Myers lemon. And nothing. No lemons. You see that? I've taken the netting off. We don't have any flowers. We don't have any, nothing at all. So I hope one of these days we get some sort of Myers lemon from this lemon tree. And yeah, I'll be patient. I'm waiting for some lemons. So right over here we have our cucumbers, and these are our Lake Valley cucumbers. And last year they were doing really well, but as you can see, I mean, they are making their way up this trellis, but I don't have that many cucumbers like I did last year. Last year I was swimming in cucumbers. There was cucumbers falling out of the refrigerator. There was cucumbers. Like, I couldn't give them away fast enough. And this year, yeah, I'm just not getting that many at all. So it's kind of weird compared to last year. The season is a little different. It's probably because I started my seeds maybe 2 weeks later. I'm not even too sure. But these are how the cucumbers are looking right now. And I have a few on there. They're just not that big yet. So I cannot wait to harvest a few more cucumber, and I'm hoping that I get some of the Suyo cucumbers because those are supposed to be heat tolerant and they're supposed to be able to handle the heat. So that'd be awesome if we can get some cucumbers from that variety. Okay, so over here we have our Japanese eggplant that's doing so good, but we have not harvested any eggplant from this eggplant yet. And this one I just bought from the nursery because we don't eat a lot of eggplant, and last year I was planting eggplant wild. And yeah, we just don't eat that much of it, so I didn't want to plant so many eggplant and then have a bunch of eggplant go to waste. So that's how this eggplant's doing. I cannot wait to see what the fruit is going to look like. No, kitty. And then over here we have our zucchini. Same thing, the zucchini, last year I was pulling zucchini from the garden left and right every single day. And this year, not so much. Last year I had 4 zucchini plants, and this year I downsized to 2, but I did plant some more seeds, and the seeds are coming up, but they're just not super big. So I'll show you what they look like. These are the cucumbers that I started from seed. And then I also started these from seed also, and I just popped the seeds right into the garden bed. But as you can see, I just have this one zucchini right here and really nothing else. I have been cleaning up the leaves. Oh, wait. Spoke too soon. Look at that. I have 3 of them right there. Oh my goodness, didn't even notice that. So yeah, nope, that zucchini plant is just doing just fine. So over here we have our Lake Valley Cherokee Purples, and they are growing profusely. So many Cherokee Purple tomatoes. Now I have harvested maybe 2 because they were cat-faced, or they were like a couple blossoms infused together, making one ginormous tomatoes. So I did take off those because those were not ripening up at the same time. But these tomatoes, oh my goodness, are amazing. They are so beefy, so delicious, full of, oh my God, flavor, so full of flavor. And the color is just amazing. So let me give you a close-up look at how these tomatoes are looking. They're not quite ripe yet, but oh, I can't wait to show you what they look like when they're ripe because they're just so beautiful. Look at those beautiful tomatoes. Look at this monster. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So there's so many of them growing, and oh, this trellising, I cannot even be more pleased. Look at how beautiful those are. Just looking amazing. All right, on the other side of the trellis, we have our pink Berkeleys, and these are by Johnny Selected Seeds. And look, already one's blushing. Look at that color. It's so awesome. I cannot wait to try all these varieties because